Welcome back to our 21-day Matomo tour. In our last video we covered visit times. Next up on our list is user IDs. Now user IDs aren't used by default in Matomo. You need to configure these to start working for tracking users based on a user ID. So perhaps a user logs into your website and you can assign a user ID to their profile, so their profile always contains their user ID. You would have also organised sufficient consent to be able to track users in this manner. So looking at the user IDs for this site, there's only 2 at the moment, so we'll just expand this out to a longer period so we can capture a lot more user IDs. So these users have logged in and then we've assigned the user ID to that profile. I'll have another video on user IDs and that will appear up in the top right when it's completed, but for now just assume that the user ID has been assigned when the user is logged in. We've either added the user ID using a tracking code, or in the WordPress plugin there's a feature to automatically assign a user ID when the user logs in using their WordPress profile. So what happens if we have a look at the user profile available now? When we hover over the user, we can see the user's visit history. When we look at the segmented log, we can see a segmented log of the visitor's history also. And we can see over to the left here, the user's details, or the user ID, is available in our data here. If you're on the internet, for example, and you're having your users sign in, we can't see them all in this view. We can always search the user IDs using the search feature down the bottom. I know, for example, there is a user called Forza NYC. And when I search that user, I can see their data directly in the UI. You might have thousands of user IDs, so that would be quite a powerful tool. To go back to our regular view, we just close the search and the original view appears. You can also see the evolution of this visitor's behavior, and we can see just recently they're definitely visiting us a lot more than they have in the past. Down the bottom we have our usual reports where we can show the row totals, and we've got an exclude low population. So if there is a very low amount of visits for particular users, they won't appear in the chart. We've got a simple table and engagement metrics. In the engagement metrics, it gives us our data which was seen in previous videos, which is the average time on site, bounce rate, and their conversion rate. So just a user here, Big Tank, is a very good conversion rate for us. So perhaps in our email marketing to this user in the future, because we'll probably have the email address now, we can target them with what they've purchased in the past. We can export the user profiles as we've covered in the previous videos. If you're not too sure about all these features, do make sure you see the first video in the series which explains these features in detail. So that's user IDs in a nutshell. It's a very powerful feature if you can enable it on your website to keep tabs on individual users and targeting them with relevant email campaigns. So in the set of videos we've been working in the visitors reports, working from top to bottom, and our next report will be user type. And this user type report doesn't actually exist really, so if we go back to our site that we created when we first started the trial, you'll notice that that particular report isn't there, and that's because that report is a custom dimension. Potentially there's a dimension that's not available on Matomo you want to track. You can create your own. You can create up to 15 custom dimensions. So this particular website has one called user type. When this user visits, they're assigned a user type, and this is probably assigned when they log in. This would be all custom JavaScript that the site has created to provide this report. We won't be going over this custom dimension during this initial trial period. There will be a separate video specifically on custom dimensions, and if that's available, it'll be up here on the right.